and welcome, Ms. Chang. At the president's press conference on March 24th, the president appointed Kamala Harris to, quote, lead the effort to stem the migration across our southern border, close quote. But in the last 77 days, she's not visited the border. Anyone trying to solve this crisis involving unaccompanied minors without visiting the border is really like a doctor diagnosing a patient without examining them. Ms. Chang, wouldn't it be helpful to you, HHS, and ORR if Vice President Harris visited the border? It's a yes or no.
This has been an all government.
It's a yes
response.
or no, please. I've got 3 other questions I'd like to get to. It's a yes or no.
Yeah. To be Representative McKinley, we focus on ACS mandate, and we are focused on doing what Congress has asked us to do, which is to care for the safety of
Okay, so I can reclaim my time. I'm sorry, you're not going to answer it. Under the Trump administration, the maximum number of unaccompanied minors reached 2,600, and they were excoriated. But as of June 2nd, according to HHS, there are now 17,000 unaccompanied minors under your care. Now, rather than using a diplomatic approach to solve this crisis, Vice President Harris has invoked politics, blaming the influx on everything from the Trump administration to climate change. Fortunately, at a meeting with the Guatemala President, Giammattei, he stated that the Biden administration's policies, Giammattei did, he stated that the Biden administration policies were the ones to blame for this crisis, and they were inviting migration, including unaccompanied minors, because of our open border policy. So, Ms. Chang, do you agree with President Giammattei that the Biden administration's policy may have contributed to this crisis involving minors?
What I can tell you, sir, is that I agree with the wisdom of Congress when they implemented the law that says that HHS should be in charge of our humanitarian response to caring for vulnerable children.
Okay, you're not going to answer that again, so thank you. So let me ask a third question. Ms. Chang, the president of Guatemala has claimed that many of the children that are brought here come from coyotes or human traffickers and should be classified as unaccompanied minors. President Obama and Trump both used the fencing techniques that we've seen in the press to segregate children and women from the men. But that policy was widely criticized and stopped. President Biden appears to be reinstating that policy. So, but I'm curious if we could just role play for a minute. If, for example, if a 35-year-old man brings a 3-year-old child across the border and is apprehended, he claims the child is his. Until that can be verified, do you keep the two separated?
So we actually only care for unaccompanied children. And as
is this child considered you don't know, is this child an unaccompanied minor with a 35, 40-year-old person carrying it?
So our role
maybe maybe this person's been trafficked. Maybe go on. I'm just, how do we separate? How do we make that determination? And how long do we wait until we determine this child does not belong to that adult?
So I can only speak for ACF and HHS's role, which is to care for unaccompanied children who have been referred to us by DHS.
So if I could then, so if this child is ultimately determined not to be a father or a relative, what I understand from your testimony, they're placed in child care until they reach the age of 18. Now, after which, I'm trying to understand the mechanics. Then do you go to that family, that foster family that maybe the child's been there for 7 or 8 years, and then extract that person from the family and deport them?
So I'll try to answer that question as best I can, sir. So for children who we cannot find a sponsor for, but I will say we never give up.
You've got a foster parent. You know where they are. They're in Tulsa, Oklahoma. They've been in your care now for 5 years, 6 years. Do you go back when they're 18 and extract them out and deport them?
So there are certainly some children who age out of ORR's custody. Again, we care for children, which means until they reach the age of 18, and whether that's in our care and custody or after we have placed them in a licensed provider or a long-term foster home, it is possible they are there until they reach age 18 or their asylum proceedings have concluded.
I'm sorry, Madam Chairman, that we didn't get the answers on that.
Gentleman's time's expired. Chair now recognizes Ms. Schakowsky for 5 minutes.